Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tripwire time. Stacy and I want to welcome you. It is February 26th, Wednesday afternoon. We are going to knock this out of the park. We've got a great guest. Real quick before we bring Brittany in, Stacy, how are you? How's the last week been for you?
It's been good. We had another themed event. You probably saw it all over Facebook where it was a Mardi Gras fundraiser for Naperville Responds for veterans, and it was incredible. So Terrell with Dark Horse Catering hosted it, and he is one of the most amazing chefs around here that I have ever had the pleasure of tasting his food. He did some unique takes on all of the Cajun foods that you would have in Louisiana, especially during Mardi Gras. It was so cool, and we got to wear our Mardi Gras masks.
So, well, I know I saw the pictures that you posted all over Facebook, and I knew that you were in some of them, but everybody had masks on. I didn't know who was who. So, but we'll get to that next time.
You didn't recognize my hair or anything? I mean,
it's a joke with the mask. It's a joke with the mask, Stacey. Come on. All right. So you've been super ecstatic about bringing Brittany on the show. So you nail that introduction and let's get this going, because this is going to be high energy, and I'll probably not get another word in edgewise for this conversation. It's going to be fantastic.
Okay. So Brittany and I met initially just through professional channels. I believe actually the first time I met her was when we did the resilience tactics workshop that we've talked about on here before. And that was a support the supporters of the military and first responder communities. And it was about how to really reach out to people that were emptying their cup, trying to help others. And we wanted to do breakout sessions and offer resources. And I met her there, and she's with the DuPage County Veteran Assistance Commission. And she isn't just the manager of that organization. As I got to know her more and more, I realized that she's just really a wealth of knowledge. And her father, retired fire chief, I believe in Naperville. We can get her to correct that, but herself, she's not a veteran, but she is so just her mission and in life is just to help veterans and make sure they've got what they need. And I just thought she'd be a great fit.
All right. Well, let's bring her on. Let's get this going.
Hi guys. How are you?
Afternoon, Brittany.
Brittany, was your dad a retired fire chief in Naperville? Is that correct?
He was a retired lieutenant. He was strike team leader for hazmat, though, for DuPage County after 9/11. So he was one of those task force with Zeb.
That's amazing.
And I was telling Stephen that I think the first time we met was at the Resilience Tactics Workshop, but it was probably in passing at the VFW prior to that. But I think that's when we started to talk and then talk more, and now we don't stop talking.
Yes, and I love that. I really do.
I think I'll just mute myself for the rest of the conversation because I'm not going to get a word in edgewise.
No, here's the funny part about Stacy and how I first met her, because she was very intimidating at first. I always thought, when I thought of Stacy, I'm like, I have to keep doing work. She'll notice me, right? I just have to, like, I'm not a veteran, you know what I mean? I'm not whatever. Right. And one day I was just helping out and she's like, hey, thank you for coming. And right then and there, I'm like, oh, I made it. I was like, the post commander actually like knew who my name was, what I was doing there and everything. And I will never forget saying that to like Dennis and Phil and them. I go, she knows my name. And then ever since then, we've been like talking ever since with VFW stuff, women's events, motivational stuff. The list goes on with Stacy.
I know. And it's just now it's one idea, one plan, one fun thing after another. I'm super excited.
I know. I'm so excited.
Brittany, I understand completely what you're saying, because when I met Stacy, it was prior to her being on any of the board of the VFW, let alone being the commander. And that energy is unique. So very unique, and if you count yourself, I would say blessed and also fortunate that you get to spend time, because she's a wealth of knowledge and has so much energy. It really is. It is awesome. I understand completely where you're coming from. So, yeah. But Stacy brought you on the show. So as I normally do, I'm going to just kind of sit here and look pretty with my beard and let Stacy run this, and we'll figure this out, because I'm going to have some things to say if you ladies let me talk, and we'll figure that out going on.
Okay. So. Okay, cool. So Brittany, the whole idea was that we kind of reach out to our viewers, and which are primarily veterans or friends, family of veterans, and just figure out what it is that they may want to ask you, and kind of get an idea of what information that you have to share that would benefit them. And what I normally end up doing is, as we go through the show, I will put up links, or if there's some kind of information, maybe something that you might say, hey, this is valuable, go to this website. I will throw those links into the comments, because that way people can listen, and if they've got something we say pops up and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to be able to go reference that or find what they're talking about, then I'll make note of that. So if there's something that you're saying and you want me to get that website, let me know. So before we get into like a couple questions that the viewers sent us, why don't you just give us a little bit of a overview about what the DuPage VAC is and what its mission
and yourself
is.
Too, though, dear.
And yes, you tell us a little bit about
tell everybody about Brittany. And yes, exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to say that.
I'm gonna go with the first one. Let's talk about the Veterans Assistance Commission first, and then go with me. So the Veterans Assistance Commission is like an limited emergency financial and referral assistance program to all our DuPage County veterans and their families during unforeseen difficult events beyond their control. So like a hospital stay, a car breaks down, something that they couldn't see. And then we also help with filing VA claims for both the veteran and their family, which it gives a big chunk of what the VAC can do on a broader side. Myself, I'm the office manager here. I wear many hats, as some of the other commissions say. I've worked in different veteran communities for nonprofits, sent out care packages, dealt with veteran assistance programs with a Medal of Honor recipient for many years, dabbled in the homeless program, did housing counts, or homeless counts, I should say, in Cook County, in Lower Wacker on those nights. The coldest night, I believe it was January 31st. So we couldn't do it the one year because I just had surgery here in DuPage, but my boss goes out with Lisa Snipes from DuPage County, and we do the counts there. I've done a lot with first responders, as you know, with my father. My brother is also captain of the fire department up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So we want to make sure here in DuPage County that they know that we are a first responder and a veteran commission. So just because you aren't a veteran doesn't mean we don't have resources for our first responders. It's very huge for me with the mental health side of things here in our county, just because of the background and knowledge of the different private hospitals and what veterans can't really have access to in like a group setting with civilians talking war stories and that. So we want to make sure we get those first responders, especially those highway patrol guys, or the ones like my dad who were at Station 4 that had the highway accidents and traumas that they had to go to, getting those services to those veterans as well and first responders. So I do a lot here with outreach, whether it be in our county, dabbling with different counties. We partner up with Will County's Veterans Assistance Commission. They come out here. We did Patriot Fest with Naperville Responds at Rotary Hill. They have that concert. We've brought in Kendall County to your resource fair. We're working with Cook County right now. Cook County needs a lot of help and assistance. So DuPage County is coming in, bringing some partnerships, great community partnerships in our community because of some of issues going on. We want to make sure we get all the resources there. So Steve's been having me go out into the community, boots on the ground with all of the knowledge.
Steve's your boss, right?
Yeah, Steven Fischler is my superintendent.
Well, I wanted to clarify that before the viewers think that you've tapped into something that you haven't.
I'm really glad that you did clarify, because I am not ready for that responsibility yet.
No, because you're really heavily involved in class at the moment, so there would not be time for you to be dabbling into the VA.
I knew it, Brittany. I told you she was going to bust my chops about being in school.
I don't know how you would keep up with both of our schedules, Steven. I don't know how.
Brittany, the joke about this is that every time I try to get him to, on the phone or try to get him to do something or whatever, he texts me. And initially it was just like, I'm in class. And then after like the fifth time, I'm like, are you really in class? I mean, what the fuck is this? Every time I'm trying to get a hold of you, is this like, I'm in class. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm in class. And so now it's like a joke.
Coach me not talking to her or ignoring.
So I'm going to get merch made. I'm going to get Tripwire t-shirts made, and it's going to say, can't, I'm in class.
That's right.
Can't, in class.
I need one of those shirts. And he needs it on the back of it for me.
Yep. They're in print right now. Okay.
Boy, here we go.
Well, so now that we know what the VAC does in DuPage, and you do work with Will County, that was interesting because I got an email from them today about getting some delegates to, I don't know exactly what their responsibility is going to be, but it gives us a voice. And you guys have, I think, Phil and Leo from our VFW are on your
Phil and Dennis.
It a board? Phil and Dennis it's a board, and then they have a voice. So I like that because the VACs, are actively listening to what's like the boots on the ground, the people that are in the VFWs and American Legions, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So that's a really good thing. I first was interviewed by all my delegates, boots on the ground at a resource fair. So my interview wasn't a normal interview. And so I heard all the delegates and what they wanted and what their mission was. And it was being out there, calling the fire departments, calling the police departments, getting in there, getting presentations done, getting the word out. So if they did get a call, who would the AMBOs give their referrals to, instead of them having to transport them to the ED if they don't need it, if they can cut out that middleman. I went to the VFWs. That was a huge one right there, saying, hey, come to the one heavily populated Chicagoland VFW post in Naperville and see what's going on there, and then amplify. And hearing from delegates and what their stuff is, and then going into your post alone and hearing from veterans firsthand knowledge about stuff, making a difference. I think the one impact was a child services, because at the VA, they don't refer children because they don't see children. So they don't have they don't give really good resources to the veteran to help their child out. So when I was at one of these rally points and hearing that, I wanted to see what I can do with Champ VA or TRICARE and see how we can get our community partners or medical professionals in on the VA, so that way we can get them in our community. And because I call myself a sick kid and I've been sick my whole life, I have a great connections with the medical community. So been working with some of these great specialists so that they can help our veterans, which they're veterans themselves, and they want to help our veterans somehow. So we're working with a spinal guy for getting them as a CMP examiner, since we have some of the best medical professionals in the Chicagoland area with all these amazing hospitals. So just getting the resources and the right information to these surgeons and stuff like that is really going to help streamline our veterans and getting them some of the best care.
So was this issue with the children? And I mean, you're right, like the VA hospital, but the veterans have children. So that's a very interesting point. Was that one of the things that drove you to create this whole, the rally point, pop-ups, if you will, pop-ups of reference and resources?
Well, it kind of goes back to Staff Sergeant Leon Magnum. He's my mentor. He was the executive director for the Alan J. Lynch Medal of Honor Veterans Assistance Program. And I worked for free 99 with him. And I say that for free for many years with him. And he set this model up in Houston. There was something called One Houston. I don't remember the name. And he always had this idea of putting all these resources in one facility, in one location, so a veteran can go to it, because they don't want to go downtown to Chicago. They don't want to go into something that's not safe. Naperville is really safe. It's a big community. People can travel there. It has different Route 59. It has I-88. It has 355 access. So it's very good access for people. And that's one of the things that drew me to that, was with Leon saying, let's get these down there. And since he went back to JROTC's and helping those people out, I'm like, you know what? Let's keep doing this. I don't know why after COVID, when COVID happened, everything shut down. People stopped doing outreach, and a lot of people didn't. And I remember him saying, keep going, that the doers and the people who are going to be noticed, they're going to keep going. And those are the ones that are going to matter. And through COVID, we were in the red zone. We were out there giving coats out. We were taking resources. We were calling people. We were in the homeless shelters and doing stuff. So I took his idea and I just ran with it. And then I saw we have 9 different townships in DuPage County, and trying to see where we can find the right fit and just amplify it. So you guys with Naperville being over close to 1,300 active American Legion members, 963 active VFW members. That's a big post. So having ideas from those veterans, hearing from all different stories of life, right? Whether it be substance use issues, whether it be mental health issues, whether it be physical health issues, chronic pain being one of them, cancer resources, children's resources, because a lot of kids, like, mental health stems from their children, right? If their children are off balance, they're off balance. And one of the things that I work with, and I know I'm going off topic, is nutrition, food.
It's okay.
I volunteer with food pantries, and I have a 3-year-old, and my son, if he doesn't get a right nutrients and he's just eating sugar all day, he's not going to be the greatest kid, right? And so with a healthy nutrition system and healthy foods, produce coming out into the neighborhood, getting like the services, because some single dads and single moms don't know how to cook, right? You're in the military, you go to a chow hall, they tell you what to eat, they tell you what you're getting, they give you MREs and stuff. Then you get out of the service and you're like, well, now what do? Go to drive-thrus and McDonald's and all that stuff. And it's like, let's build some life skills. Let's find some things. Let's get some cooking programs going and finding outlets for those resources. So that's what we started doing, Leon. Well, I started doing with the rally points, and I just kind of learned it from him, and then just started picking out a lot of the stuff that veterans were coming to me about. And then if I had the resource, I'd bring them to that event or that post and say, hey, try it out. Let's see if it works.
So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to go back to this question here. What, like, the biggest challenges, you've already tapped into this, but the biggest challenges that are facing veterans in our county, but really in our state, like, what do you see predominantly when people come to you and need help? What are the top things?
Right now, so I'm introducing Rally Point Addison this month. We just started it in February. It will be the second Tuesday of the month. And the reason why I'm doing Addison now, it is the township that has the most diversity. And when I say that, it's because it's the heavy population of ethnicity, and the culture there is so diverse. It's insane. But the low income population is also one of the key factors in Addison. And so going out there and seeing what's going on, it's a veteran not identifying as a veteran. I will have to say that. There are a huge need in Addison, but the veterans aren't identifying as a veteran. And so I'm going to go out there with some mental health services. We're going to go on the ground and see why these veterans don't want to come out and say, hey, I'm proud to be a veteran, right? Some people say, did I serve, right? Some of the new politically correct terms, instead of saying, are you a veteran, is like, did you serve? Because some of the people who think that they did not go overseas, they don't consider themselves a veteran. And I can't speak for that myself. I just have had veterans come up to me and say that themselves, that they don't feel that they're a veteran because they didn't go overseas and fight like their friends did. And I feel very...
They're veterans in our eyes. They're veterans in our eyes. Definitely veterans in our eyes. They serve.
Do you think that has something to do?
They wrote that blank check to the government and Uncle Sam. And that's one of the things that is really huge on it, whether it be a religion issue. So I'm asking some of my friends, whether it be in the Asian population, the European population, I'm trying to see the different cultures and what we can do and what the reasoning is behind that. So that's one of the things that the supervisor asked me to do and put a task on me to do for that township.
Do you think that it has something to do with the level of PTSD that this generation has, and that makes people feel that they haven't gone through what some of their friends might have gone through? They're not feeling that same type of trauma, that they're not worthy, I guess might be the word, that they're not worthy to consider themselves in the same, as a veteran. Do you think it is mental health related?
Mm-hmm.
I think what she's trying to get at, Brittany, is that they've lost the connection with the veteran community because they don't feel that they meet the criteria of those that actually did go during the global war on terrorism and serve over there, or serve in Syria or Africa or whatever. A lot of these young kids nowadays are doing 4 years and they haven't seen any combat. And that doesn't mean a damn thing to us that are combat veterans. They served. They still stepped on those. They stepped up. They raised their hand. And I think it's extremely important that they realize that they stood, like you said, they stood for something bigger than themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They've earned the title of veteran. They're not a combat veteran, but they're a veteran. We're all veterans.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever need me to come with you, if you ever need me to come with you and help tell them how important they are and how grateful we are for what they've done, and how, how important they really are to the whole mission, what is that? Is that a motion sensor? Jump up and down.
Yeah, my motion sensors just went out on me in the cafeteria.
Wave your.
I am. Hold on, I'm trying.
That's funny.
Hold on. Let me go get this.
That's so awesome.
That sounds that seems like something that would happen to me with my technical. Okay, so I'm writing all these things down that I want to be able to get these links.
I get it. That's awesome. Oh, gotta love technology when you. So this reminds me of.
She went down the hall.
You have to go get the lights.
Right.
You have to go turn the lights on.
I literally had to run in my cafeteria just to try to turn on a light.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay, so let's go back to that real quick. So some of the biggest challenges, obviously, you were talking about them not recognizing that they were
you coming out to the VFW. So I haven't really gotten into it with Alex. So Dennis Riboletti is the supervisor. We're talking about going to the VFWs. I'm bringing in NEDSRA. They have a veteran service program. It's a recreational for DuPage County.
Is that part of the Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies spinoff from Alan Force? Okay.
Yes. So that department alone, because it's a civilian non-for-profit, but they do have a veteran side component to it. So I'm hoping that because it's a civilian side, I can grab some veterans through that location and get them into some recreational activities and see what we can do. I know they're remodeling to make a rec center on the second floor there, but trying to find ideas of where these veterans might be in their community besides the American Legion, the VFW post. That's what I'm working with on my task. I know I'm going to be asking Stacy to come out with me once or twice. But yes.
Well, one of the reasons that I'm having you go to the spaghetti dinner on Friday. So the spaghetti dinner on Friday at the VFW, which is hosted by the American Legion, is to raise money and honor both of the student veterans clubs at Naperville North High School and Naperville Central. And then there's 5 of us that are going, Stephen. Then we're going from the spaghetti dinner to the movie that is the Brother in Arms movie. So, one of the reasons that I invited you, Brittany, not just because I also really enjoy your company, but it's Team Red, White, and Blue. So I got involved with Team Red, White, and Blue through Jack Irwin, who's a friend of mine, who's the commander at the St. Charles VFW, and he's heavily involved with them. And I mentioned them on our last week's podcast, and they're hosting the movie that we're going to go see. And I want you to meet all of these people, because this is another way for veterans to be involved with activities, physical challenges, like ruck marches. They're all signing up for our Be the One ruck march on March 22nd. And there is a huge group going to the movie at this location. And I think that this is a great way. Like what you said, we were talking about veterans and how they can get involved, and when they don't feel comfortable or they don't understand how to get involved with the American Legion or the VFW, this is a very easy way for them to start just doing something on a level that's comfortable with them, for them. So have you heard of that? You did. I believe you met him at the Resilience Tactics Workshop.
Yes.
Right? You met Jack there. So, yeah, so that movie is supposed to be. Have you heard of that, Stephen? The movie that we're going to see?
Yes, okay. I have.
Yeah. So to your point, that's another way that I think, and I'll probably put that link in our comments again, because I want people to know that that's out there. Because I have the app on my phone, and it's really something I'm really starting to enjoy. Okay, so. One of the things about you're very knowledgeable, because you take the time to listen and talk and hear veterans' stories, which makes you a valuable resource, because not only do you listen, but you're able to take that information, and then, because of what you do for a living, figure out what resources help. But you mentioned earlier about your own medical issues. Okay. So a lot of the things that I see that veterans need are healthcare, their veterans benefits, mental health, pain management. So do you feel comfortable talking a little bit about some of those things that you're going through that has allowed you to get a lot of knowledge in the medical front that you can use to help veterans in the same situation?
Yes. So I have a spinal injury and a nerve system issue. And so I've been dealing with that for about 10 years now. And with that, it has got me to different specialists through their different spinal surgeons, neurology, right? One of the biggest things when we're talking about veterans is spinal injuries. And a couple things that veterans don't know is the nervous system, right? Neurology has different systems, whether it be the brain, the spine, or the nerves themselves. And when they're going into the doctor's office saying, hey, I was in a blast radius zone, blase, they don't know where they need to go. They just think, oh, TBI, and that's it, gone. But they don't realize that each department is different. And been working with a lot of my friends because of it, because they see me not popping pills with opioids while they're taking pills that I don't want to be saying on there. And I tell them they don't have to.
Right.
But there's different holistic approaches and stuff like that. And I really didn't want to take 14 pills a day like some of my friends who are having the same spinal and nerve issues. And so I went into Neuro Institute in Wooddale, who does CTEs, spinal injuries, a lot of veteran stuff, whether due the vaccines. So some of our veterans, especially some that are on our commission, have been affected by different vaccines that the military has given them. And they unfortunately had to be medically discharged. Well, Neuro Institute has stuff that deals with eye ticking movement, occipital nerve injection stuff, all different type of things that can help these different vaccine side effects. Right. And so seeing that with the veterans and them asking, well, what are you guys using? Ray hook fin with H waves. It's like a TENS unit, but a step up. It gives like a euphoric
I had it on my shoulder at our veteran business fair. Yeah. The H wave.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yep.
That's one of the things that I am really keen on with chronic pain is to get rid of the opioid pandemic and try to do different outlooks, like the healthy mind, healthy body stuff. So H-Wave is huge. Shout out to Ray. He works with the spinal people. He works with your PT orthotics people. He even talks to the veteran. I think I have 5 of his veterans as my friends, actually. And I didn't realize that they're his patients until they came up to me and go, hey, you know him? And I said, yeah, I'm actually talking to him about the H-Wave. And he goes, oh, I'm his client. I go to Jesse Brown and he comes and fits me. Oh, I go to Heinz. I just saw him. And he'll
Who
stop
are you talking about? What's
pantry.
the name? What's the name? What's the name of the person?
Ray Hookfin.
Ray. Okay, Ray. That's what I thought. Yeah.
He was there at your business fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I met him when I was on that panel at the Union League of Chicago, that legislative panel with State Representative Stephanie Kifowit for veteran entrepreneurs. I met him that
Frankie
day.
Gutierrez, the Veterans Assistance Commission of Cook County's president, was there.
Yep. Well, he hosted it. So yeah, that was cool. Okay, small world.
Yes.
Right on.
All right, Brittany, I'm gonna on a side note, I'm gonna bring in some information to you between now and when I come back to visit after I'm done with my school class here in Ohio. In the end of April, there have been massive studies, several of them going around, specifically utilizing us from the EOD community to do studies on blast wave effects on the human nervous system, the human body, to eventually get it up to legislation so that it can become a rating through the VA system. So I have information on that. I'd love to sit down and chat with you, and I'll bring that to the table next time I come into town.
I would love that because actually one of my great friends, he is part of the 22 now. He was with EOD and he was in the blast radius and he lost all his teeth and he was at Heinz VA was last time I saw him, and I helped him with his service dog at the time. So I would definitely love to talk with EOD guys more about their blast radius and the liquid in the brain and the spinal injuries by the C1 through C4 and stuff, because it really does affect you guys mentally when all it can be is a simple chiropractic tweak and your mental health can get back on a correct path.
Yeah. So given my name, Stephen O'Donnell, I am in the community, the push-up guy, because I post the 22 a day every day. I'm back at it. I've been doing it today was 107 days. The last time I did it for 841 days straight. So give him my name and I'd love to talk to him.
Absolutely.
At your leisure. At your leisure. Sorry.
All right, let's see. Okay, so a veteran that is trying to access benefits, let's say a veteran comes to you and they've struggled with getting their benefits, and then they don't know what to do. Let's say they're not a member of the VFW and they're not a member of the American Legion. They don't know me. Somebody refers a civilian person that, knows of you and your wealth of knowledge. This veteran, calls to you and says, what advice can you give me to look into getting my benefits? What do you do?
So 2 different scenarios. If they're looking for service connection disability and they already have a diagnosis already, I would refer them to their VSOs, close VSO. You can go with Alberto. He's with my Veterans Assistance Commission. There will be a VSO at every rally point. You do not have to be a DuPage County resident to go to those rally points. Financially, yes, I can only help you financially if a DuPage resident. But if you're looking for VSO assistance, referral assistance, you do not have to be a resident to get those services. We have IDVA, which is Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. We have a couple of VSOs that are around the area or they travel inside the DuPage County area. We also have Russ Meredith from the VFW regional office downtown. He comes out to the Naperville location. He comes
First Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, first Tuesday to your location, and then the second and fourth Friday at the Vet Center in Aurora, which is right off of Ogden. It's still Naperville, well, still DuPage County address, but it's Aurora. And then the first Monday in Des Plaines Senior Center, and that's Russ Meredith. So we have them for our VSOs. If there's an issue, if we want a female VSO, Cynthia McKee is with Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. I've worked with her for many years. I trust her very well. I've seen her in action. It's kind of funny. I think I've known her since 2016. So I've definitely referred people to her. Now, what's amazing is if the veteran is anywhere in the state of Illinois, IDVA can use them as well throughout the whole state. So if I had somebody in Rock Island, Illinois that didn't want to use one of their VSOs out there, they can obviously call the regional office or IDVA and ask for a VSO, and they can also assist wherever they're at. So they don't have to utilize in their own county for those aspects. The American Legion regional office is now implementing that their VSOs will be coming out here. Just have to send out what dates they are, but they will be utilizing American Legion VSOs as well. So trying to get 2 VSOs in Naperville. So then that way there will be more of an influx with all the popularity of this show, this Tripwire podcast, and getting more marketing out there. We expect more of an influx. So I want to bring more VSOs to our county to accommodate the influx, whether it be from our commission or another community partner of VSOs. We just want to make sure that it's accredited. And what I say is accredited is I don't want a claim shark with you guys. And I'm telling you this now, if you pay for a claim, if they're asking for a donation to file your claim, do not go to them. If they're paying, I just got a veteran, I'm not kidding you, Stacy, sent me it saying that I need to pay $1,240 for a mental health evaluation for them to file my claim. I go, what? No. I said, I will get you a mental health person for free to get that evaluation. You do not pay for it. Found out he sent me the website. It's a claim shark. Went to the legal stuff. He's reporting it to the state's attorney, the OAG's office, and the military rights office, because you should not be paying someone to file your claim. They should not be asking for a donation to file your claim. I do not take anything from you guys. Alberto doesn't, Marcus doesn't, Russ doesn't. We don't do that. So if it sounds suspicious, please call my office, call Stacy, call your commanders. We want to make sure we know about these things in the community, so that way they can come and inform us, so that way we can get our attorneys and other people in legal actions on them.
So I have a very interesting point to bring to that is, and I'm glad that the culture is changing. Brittany, I'm really ecstatic that the culture is changing, and that people like yourself and people like Stacy are in positions where you can share that information with the veterans to 100% provide the calmness and the clarity in the sense of, hey, you shouldn't have to pay for this, because there was a time frame in the last 20 years during the global war on terrorism when some of us got out that the VA was not our friend. And the only way we could get things done, because the culture hadn't caught up yet, and the VSOs weren't helping us, and the DAV wasn't helping us, that was the only way we could get things done back then, was to actually go out and talk to some of these people that would, hey, we're going to take 5% of your claim or your initial pay once you get your claim situated with the VA or whatever the case may be. There is a culture of veterans that did that in the early 2000s and maybe into a little bit into the 2010s. And I'm just so glad to hear that you guys are so adamant and that you're throwing it out there for everybody to understand that this is their right and that they deserve it through you guys, your assistance, that you deserve it for free, and to get it the help they need. So.
Yes. And I am so mad because I remember before I got out of the veteran community, and worked on the civilian side here in DuPage County. There was a veteran who got 100% service connection. I was like, dude, file. You have service connection. I was not a VSO at the time. And I'm like, this sounds like you have a claim. And they took it to somebody who was a claim shark, and they asked for 10% of whatever they got awarded. And sure enough, they got 100% disability, which is over, obviously, $3,000. So every month they would have $300 less of their service connection. And I couldn't do anything about that. And I was so mad. And that's when Attorney General's office, that's when Lake County VAC started getting involved with these claim sharks, making laws to stop it, because you can't change that now. A veteran is now lost $300 each month from the government because of them signing up because they wanted their service. You know what I mean? And when I got out of it, it became really, really bad in 2017 and stuff like that with claim sharks, I found out. And now they passed a law this past year. And so these claim sharks are getting smarter and doing stuff online. And so they're not physically in the state of Illinois. They're in an outside state. So we're having now state's attorneys in different states make these laws. So New York followed suit after Illinois did. So now we need to get all the state attorney generals on board to get these claim sharks out of our country.
Well, to stop the preying on veterans, period. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
What you got next, Stacey?
So, I feel like you talked a little bit about some success stories where you've helped some people, but is there a standout time where a veteran came to you and you were able to really navigate through some obstacles and help? Could you share that story with us, please?
Yeah, so I have two of them recently. We have a paralyzed veteran. He had a non-motorized wheelchair and he couldn't get around anywhere. He's single, obviously not having any family members around. Our VAC stepped up. We found electric wheelchair that was about $2,000, and we helped pay for it for that veteran. Another one, which is a huge success story in my opinion, was a widow of a Vietnam veteran. He actually passed away from Agent Orange, an Agent Orange disease. I can't remember the exact disease. I was looking at his death certificate because I was helping her with something else at the time. And I saw it and I said, you should really apply. Did you ever remarry after he passed away? She goes, heavens no, that was the love of my life. And I'm going to die single. And I said, well, if you haven't gotten married, you get property exempt tax. Like, this is service related. And so I helped her get helped with her property tax exemption, and she does not have to pay over $12,000 in property taxes for the rest of her life. And she just started crying. She goes, what do I do? And I said, go on vacation. And she goes, no, I'm going to pay my whole house out. I get goosebumps talking about that because she was just coming in, I think, for like a water bill or something. And I just turned around and we helped her with property taxes because her husband passed away a couple years ago. And if it wasn't for looking at the certificate, people would have just passed it by. So finding little things and hearing what the veteran or the spouse is saying, although people say, Brittany, I don't listen sometimes because, my mind is ADHD. I'm doing a lot of things. I do listen at times. I swear I'm listening. But yeah, if I could listen a lot more, because some of the stories these veterans say and what they've gone through, what they've been through, the impact, I just want to give back and see how I can bless them more. You know what I mean? Help them move forward or give them a hand to help another person. And that's what I've been doing in the community. I see a lot of my good buddies in suburban Cook County doing some good work out there for me.
Awesome.
Let's talk about how people can volunteer, because there's people that are watching here that would love to, I want to help Brittany out. I want to, maybe I can help. I don't know. I don't have all this knowledge, but what are some ways? I get that question a lot too. You know,
there are so many ways to help out in DuPage County's community. We, like I said, we have NEDSRA with recreational activities. They can always use people for all their activities planning, whether it be fishing and stuff like that. Working with Elmhurst American Legion, Ty Clark, Chief Warrant Officer, if he's listening. He wants to bring fishing and this like fly fishing stuff that I don't know how to do on a boat.
Fly fishing.
I guess he was telling me about how great our water is. So I'm trying to get Park District stuff going with that. We have the VA food pantry. It's and at the Hines VA, you can help with Jennifer Phillips is a spouse at your post. She's my passenger princess. And so her and I drive her to Hines with me. And so she helps out and gives perishable foods out. We have Support Over Stigma. We have them doing different events with 5Ks. We have the Be the One. With your guys' 2.2 mile coming up in March, we're doing that. They could use a lot of help there. Canine for Veterans, there's a home show coming up March 4th. I could use as many volunteers as I can. It is one of 4 non-for-profit organizations. It's the only veteran charity organization, 501c3, that McCormick Place is allowing to be a donation. And what that means is there's a bunch of home show stuff, whether it be faucets, plumbing, furniture, Corningware, cookingware, Tupperware containers, those Stanley cups, right? And what we do is we bubble wrap the crap out of it and we put it on a pallet and they put it on a truck. What that does is it helps Canines for Veterans sell those things at the Bolingbrook Promenade for low cost, and all the money and profits that they do goes to medical expenses for their service animals. It helps buy the service animals training. It helps with the medical expenses for that service animal. So that way the veteran who is having those, or the veteran that experiencing those type of issues that needs a service animal, they don't have to worry about feeding, medical costs, and the training for it. So a lot of us are coming out with our sleeve, are rolling up our sleeves March 4th, that Tuesday. Let me double check that. Yes, March 4th. So if you want to help out, I know I'm getting Veterans Assistance Commission of Cook County, trying to help with some VFWs in Naperville to help out. But that's another way to get out there. Canine for Veterans is also near and dear to my heart, especially with the suicide awareness. And I'm sure some people have been touched by that and are affected by it with their friends and family members. So if you want to help out, that's a great organization. They have things that they're doing. We have Allen Force. If you have children, they just are opening up a new one. Donna Allen out there. She is right by the Louis Joliet Mall. They're opening up. We've done axe throwing with them. I've done a swim amusement park with them. There's courts for camaraderie with them. I could keep going if you'd like. Fish fries with the VFW.
There's a lot. So what we'll do is, we'll start putting some of these links for some of these things that you're saying in the comments for reference. So people, when people like after we, this is aired, after this is aired live, people can go back and watch it, and they can also find it on the Motivate You Live YouTube channel. And I'll put the links on there as well, so people can reference a lot of that stuff. So we've got about 5 more minutes, but there's a couple things that I wanted to just touch about I wanted to ask you what inspired you to work with veteran services. I think you probably touched that, but was there, because I know that you were bartending and managing and you were doing something completely different. And I know that you've been very connected with the first responder community, but what was it? And then I think you were volunteering for the Medal of Honor. You were working with the Medal of Honor gentlemen. And then was it something through that lit that spark in you to be so passionate about helping and working in veteran services?
So I gotta shout out to my daddy, LT. I always call him that when him and I are going at it. But my dad, he was on duty on 9/11 when the towers hit, and I was in 7th grade, and I couldn't communicate with my dad the whole day. I was blowing up his phone, didn't know what the World Trade Center stuff was about, none of that. And so our family was impacted by that. And I didn't get to hear from my dad till I think like 10 o'clock at night that night. And so my brother and I had some different paths, and seeing people falling out of the towers really touched me. And then I went into Western Illinois, home of the Leathernecks, and I met my son's godfather, Brandon Goodrich. He's in my paperwork. He is one of my best friends, and his friends have been affected. We have an E1, Tyler Hoog. I can't wait for you guys to meet him. He was airborne and all that, was ambushed, got blown up in his Humvee, has a chicken bone leg. They've inspired me so much. We have a special forces out there who was killed in action in Geneseo, Illinois. So my freshman year of college really was impactful, besides me partying up with some Marines coming back from Fallujah and stuff that I didn't realize about until years later, and hearing them and having my friends come back from the 07, 06 era and hanging out with them. That 07 time really impacted me from my friends, and I'm gracious for them to let me share their stories, because some of them, I mean, some people don't want their stories shown or talked about, and they give me this platform, and I just want to make them proud. And my two friends that took their lives, I just am happy I'm in the spot that I'm at, that I can at least make a difference or say, hey, I know some ways that I can pull you guys out, that there is light at the tunnel.
Awesome. So I guess, we're going to be wrapping it up here pretty soon, Stephen, if you think, right? I really want to thank Brittany for coming on here, because you are one of the most phenomenal women that I've had the opportunity to meet since I've been connected with the VFW. And as you can see, Stephen, she is a wealth of knowledge, and this could easily be, a 3-parter like Daniel's. I know, Stephen.
I want to go on record for our audience that I have never doubted you. Anything that you've said, she's a wealth of knowledge. She's a powerhouse, and so are you in the VFW. I agree with everything that you just said. And so
so the last thing I wanted to ask you, Brittany, is if you could give one message to veterans in DuPage County, or veterans in general, one message about that you would want them to think about, something that you would want to say to them to remember, what would that be?
No question's a dumb question.
I like that.
Yep, absolutely.
I like that. We all need to hear.
I ask a ton of questions every day. I always love learning new things. No question is a dumb question. And you can always email me. You guys know I'm up at all hours, from 4 a.m. emailing people to 11 o'clock at night emailing people. Feel free to ask a question. I don't mind answering it.
It's been an honor to have you on the show today, and we'll have to come back so that we can catch up on some of these programs that you talk about going out in the future, and where we see them, or where you find them, 6 to 8 months down the road. Brittany, always honored to have you on the show. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you.
And on behalf of Stacy, myself, and Brittany, our guest, this has been a fantastic evening with Tripwire. Remember that the path of freedom is paved with courage.
And honor is the wire that we never trip.